Welcome to Terrorverse TV, friends. I'm John Altarelli. I'm going to be your host today, and I'm here with my esteemed producer, Jenna. And
Hi.
we're gonna go over some reaction videos that Jenna has found for me to react to around the recent attempted assassination of Donald Trump. If you like the content, please subscribe, like, hit the bell, and send us your comments. And particularly if you have any topics you want us to cover, we will be happy to try to do so. We've been getting requests, and we're going to try to cover them. One of the biggest requests was make sure Jenna gets on more often, so we're going to do that. So why don't we start right away, Jenna? Pick a clip that you want me to respond to. Why don't you introduce what it is, if you can, and then we'll get right into it.
Yeah, I think this one's kind of going to be my favorite. Brandon Biggs. Brandon Biggs. I feel like he's a medium or something, or he's a prophesier.
Oh.
I don't know if that's how you say that word. Prophesizer.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay, that sounds good. So, yeah, let's just hear him. Let's just hear him talk.
All right.
Here he goes.
Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking. People say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus. For what I saw coming.
I mean,
Wow. When was this?
Oh goodness, 3 months ago he did it.
I got to look this guy up. I want him to read me. This is amazing. Really? I mean,
Yeah, that's what he said 3 months ago.
Wow.
I mean, I know these things are real. People have this type of skill.
I know. Well, because we met Joe McMonagle.
Oh
down there,
yes.
remote
Yeah,
viewer.
I'll link that video. You guys can watch it because he's a viewer.
Yeah, so he's a remote viewer. So that was interesting. I don't know that he would have done this type of prediction, but wow, this was amazing. I want to look up this guy, Jim. Make sure we do a little more research. I want to see if he's got a history of making these types of predictions, because
He must.
I mean, that one's like, that's scary. Wow. I mean, I don't know how you can get any more accurate than that. That's not even.
You all know it's kind of weird, and I just thought of this right now. I don't know if I told you, but on Saturday, I was walking on 10th Avenue from one place to the next, and I saw a woman attack another woman. And I mean, of course, I ran over to help. And basically, the weird point I'm just realizing right now is this chick hit her in the head, in her right ear. And I really feel like it was the exact time that this happened with Trump. This is just I'm just making a weird connection right now. But she basically severed her eardrum. This lady hit her so hard, her eardrum got severed, and she had internal bleeding. And it was her right ear. I don't know. I just think that's kind of creepy.
It is kind of. We probably should do a search and see how many people had their right ear banged up on around the time of the attempt. I mean, we shouldn't be laughing about it, but it is.
No.
But these coincidences.
It's
are
weird.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And these I've had, and I'm sure everyone has had them. I've had some weird premonitions that have come and that have absolutely been prescient, and they were. I felt like someone in trouble, and then 5 minutes later, I get a call at 4 o'clock in the morning from someone who's actually in trouble.
Yeah.
I felt it when I think people in my family were either sick or had actually passed. I know that these things happen, and I'm not you know me. I'm not very. I'm open to all of this, and I'm much more of a skeptic, though. I like to see a little bit more proof. But having gone through that myself, and having we will someday talk about my other more recent experience where I had this really crazy feeling where something came through me, and I actually heard words, and I thought I was going crazy, but for 2 days I had this real sensation around my body. I couldn't shake it. And that was sort of what's led to what we're doing here. As you know, I had a kind of a little bit of an epiphany in my own life, and decided that I was going to start doing more things for the universe and for people and for human beings, and try to not worry so much about myself, because I've already done all I need to do for me. So that's kind of where we came up. But I am definitely a big believer, and I'm believing even more. And this guy is amazing. I can't believe he predicted that. So that's very interesting. But he's not into conspiracy theory, which we're going to probably watch a few of those, right? But
Yes.
But that was a good start because wow.
I mean, it's just like interesting. This man predicted this, and I don't know. I the other part I liked about it was he said that Trump's going to be a born again Christian. So
Well, that'll be helpful.
I mean, that would definitely if someone that's going to run the country, which I do hope he does. With the state of the choices we have. I mean, that'd be great if someone was religious running the country.
I have to believe, and I'm glad you brought that up, Jen. I have to believe, when I looked at Trump yesterday at the convention, okay, I saw a different look on his face than I've seen over the last few months. You know how he is. He has this very bully, really strong, smug sort of look. He looked a little bit. I think I don't know if you saw when he came out of the tunnel. I almost thought he was almost about to be in tears.
Are you saying before the rally for the following one?
No, for the convention.
Oh, for the yes.
Yesterday.
After the okay, yes. Sorry, I just want to make sure.
When he came out of
the
the tunnel,
RNC convention.
The RNC convention.
Yes,
when he came out of the tunnel with, I guess he had Kid Rock. He had all the people around him, and he was coming out. Was Kid Rock with him? No, maybe not.
I'm not sure.
No,
I can pull up his intro video.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was, but there was definitely. I think I saw Tucker Carlson. He had some people with him when he came out. But anyway, he looked different. He really did. He looked different. He looked somewhat shaken, humbled, and I almost thought I saw, because I know how men, when they try to hold it in, when they're about to, I've been there. When you're about to cry, you kind of try to figure out how to stop it. But I almost thought that, and I hope that this near-death experience for him will cause some amount of reflection. And like you said, if he comes closer to God, if he comes closer sort of to try to really bring the country together and try to talk to people on both sides of the aisle in a way that he can lessen their concern, right? Particularly the one about him being a dictator and all that stuff. I think if he brought that down a bit and reached out to people, I think he might have a much, if he gets elected and it looks, well, I don't even know. I can't know what you can tell whether he's going to get elected or not. But if he does, I'm hoping he uses the second term, if he has a second term, in a much moral way, and he does, really good things for the country. And I'm fine with a lot of his platform issues. I'm not fine with some of them, but to do them is in the most humane way. And someday we'll come back. We did an immigration thing. I'd do another one because I think immigration is one of the big issues that I think there's a humane way to do that. And I hope he takes the high ground on that and not sort of the easy path, which is just, let's throw everybody out. Let's close the border. Let's, make every immigrant look like a criminal. So I hope he does a better job on that one, and we'll get there. So but anyway, I saw something different. I don't know if you did, but I did.
It's a miracle, though. Just like no matter who you are, the bullet grazed his ear. How close is that to your brain?
No, and he turned his head. You can see
I heard him calling, or he was on a phone call with someone where he said, like, I think the random head turn I had saved my life. It's. How could you not be so grateful? That's just unlikely that someone could have, been that close to his head that he missed by that small of a degree.
Well, I think I saw a real-time sort of projectile analysis, and they had his head where it was.
Okay.
Right, and if it stayed in that spot, the bullet would have penetrated right there. He would have been done.
Exactly.
And then just a little bit of a turn.
Yeah.
Was just enough. So when the gunman was sighting in on him, he probably had his sights there, and then when he turned, when he pulled the trigger, even though it only takes a second to get there, it was just enough time to save his life. And if I were him, I would think it is a miracle. So no doubt, I would be thanking God, and I would be looking at my life and trying to make sure that I did all thanks to God and everything I could going forward to make it worth it. God saved me for a reason, right? So I hope He says, that's why. So hopefully we'll get there. But why don't we look at some more?
This next one is from Media Touch. I'm not sure what that exact news platform is, but this is more now. We're going the conspiracy theory route about how this was an inside job, which, I don't know about you. I think we talked about this in the last video, that it is kind of strange how did Secret Services did they not do like their full job? I mean, that was a roof that was pretty in the perimeter of the rally. So it's just interesting to me that one roof wasn't cleared. So
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts on that too.
So here we go. Listen to this.
Channel 4 News can reveal that Thomas Crooks's father, the owner of the rifle that was used to shoot at Donald Trump, was held on a database and profiled by the former president's election campaign and identified by them as a strong Republican supporter, gun owner, and hunter. The information was compiled as part of a secret Republican project to gather data on millions of gun owners across America and use it to target pro-gun messages in the run-up to the 2016 election. And here's why they did it. The city of Pittsburgh is a key battleground in the critical swing state of Pennsylvania, so voters here are always heavily profiled and targeted by political parties, like the Trump campaign in 2016, which held voters' details on a database, including, as we've discovered, the shooter's family, Matthew Crooks and his wife Mary, who lived here at 2506 Milford Drive in Bethel Park. We know they profiled them using secret computer models to identify likely gun owners and enthusiasts, and Mr. Crooks scored very highly, 0.99 out of 1 for being a gun owner and 0.95 out of 1 for being a hunter. In fact, out of more than 19,000 people in Bethel Park who were profiled, Mr. Crooks was in the top 20, and the database classified him as a strong GOP or Republican voter.
Okay, I'm not sure where she's going with that.
I think I mean, maybe we need to find another video, but like I think she's trying to say they targeted him. They knew he was someone that was a gun owner, that was a hunter, so they're saying they set him up to do that.
Oh,
that's
well,
what I'm assuming
yeah.
is the far-reaching point of that.
Yeah, okay. Well, that seems strange. I mean, first of all, let's just cover some of the basics on this notion of targeting. At least she was honest enough to say that all political parties do this. The notion that it's some kind of secret formula or secret database, obviously it wasn't very secret since they were able to get it. So all campaigns do this. I get targeted. I get stuff from the left. I get stuff from the right. I don't know what database I got on. I don't know how they profile me from economics, whatever. There's a ton of data on everyone in the world out there, and they do absolutely use computer models to find people who they think might be a potential voter, and they target those people. Absolutely. It happens all the time. Does that translate into the fact that he was on a list with many other potential people that were gun owners or Republicans if they're registered? And by the way, we don't know for sure whether they were registered or not. We've heard conflicting stories, whether the father was an independent, the mother was a Democrat, he was a Republican. I need to see, they have voter records, so we'll be able to get this at some point, the truth as to who they were and whatever. And then the young kid also had, donated to some of the, Democratic or left-wing causes. So it's obviously, there's a bit of a conflict on whether he was right or left or whether he got turned from one side to the other. A lot of people changed their sides. I was a Democrat for many, many years, and then I became a Republican. So, people do change their views, but that doesn't radicalize them into becoming assassination or someone's going to shoot the president. But that's all going to come out over time. And I don't think that you can make a conspiracy theory out of the fact that he was on a database that the government was using to find potential voters in a swing state. I mean, everyone does that. So I don't know what that one does for the argument at all, unless they're trying to say that based on that, they figured out he would be the best guy in the neighborhood to be the shooter. Okay.
That's what I think that's what I think she's saying. I feel like that's what she's saying.
Okay. But, again.
I don't know. Then you're seeing videos.
But the kid wasn't on the list. It was the parents.
Right. They sacrificed their child to get some money from the government.
Yeah. Good luck with that one. By the way, as I said the last time, I'm going to say it again. I do feel for his parents as well here. I mean, we don't know what kind of trauma they're going through. I could imagine anyone that had a son that ended up in this situation and they didn't know about it or didn't see the warning signs, or maybe they did, they didn't. It's very hard. It's very hard. I don't want to put so much pressure on the parents and say it's all their fault. I certainly am not going to the fact that they were, they were working with the government on the Republican side to shoot at Trump.
Is that
I mean, come on.
potentially possible?
Anything's possible, all right? I know enough, and we'll get into this a little bit. When you talk about our government, anything's possible, okay? Just take some facts. I mean, we know for a fact, and this has come out in Congress, and it's been, if you watch, I love to watch these congressional hearings because there's a lot of stuff that comes out that people who don't watch it don't really get what's clear. I mean, from actual documents and research, we know that, every time a president has enough control over the wheels of justice, or the CIA, the Department of Defense, and you got the AG and the FBI. If you can get them to do your bidding, and sometimes you can, and they have. We had in Clinton era we had the looking at people's records and pulling up their tax returns, and we had it's happened all the time. The FBI has been targeting Catholic churches. You know that, right? They actually keep databases, and they're treating Catholics as nationalists and terrorists, potential terrorist groups. This has gone on forever. They did it.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, they did it during the 70s when I was going. Oh man, they targeted all of the black activist groups, as being terrorists, and they still do. They do all the time. They target all this stuff under the guise, right, of domestic terrorism, potential threats. And you can pretty much this is the first time I'll go along with Rachel Maddow on something. You can almost characterize anything as a terrorist threat, and depending on what your motivations are, you can surveil them, and the government does surveil them. And then, like I said, we're going to have another session on FISA, where the government was supposed to do that for foreign agents outside of the U.S., and now they can surveil U.S. citizens, and the Congress let them do it. They expanded the law. They've increased the amount of surveillance on U.S. citizens. So absolutely, Jen, the government does and can do very bad things to U.S. citizens, and I don't know, I am not yet convinced on any of the theories around JFK or any of the other assassinations that have happened over the years, whether it was a CIA or mafia-backed things. There's been so much noise on that, and I've looked at a lot of it over the years. I can't figure it all out. Okay, I'm sorry, people can call me an idiot for not figuring it out, but I just can't. There's enough evidence to suggest that that the story that we were told is not the story, okay? And we know that from other areas where the government has hidden stuff from us, and they continuously hide stuff from us. So yeah, there's no doubt. And I know now, I'm going to go to
the Secret Service guy knew that.
Okay.
Keep going. I was
queuing
you up.
And because I have a lot of friends in the community, the intelligence community, and all of the agencies, and including the Department of Defense, and I challenge them on these things all the time. And they won't divulge secret information, but they are not in any way, shape, or form denying the capabilities, of our government to do anything on our soil, and if there's a reason that they believe is correct. Now, I mean, most of these guys would never do it because they're true patriots. I don't think they would do an assassination attempt just because they were told to by their boss. I don't think so. But are there people that will? Yeah, there probably are. I mean, particularly when you have a politically divided country, that you don't think there's going to be some CIA agents that are totally against Trump. Sure, we saw tons of them. We saw tons of them in the FBI.
I was going to say, the last video, how many aggressive people. I mean, it's
in the government.
Not. Yeah, exactly. It's not. I mean, yeah.
So when I look at this from just the first blush, there's a lot of information coming out. The only thing I can conclude immediately without a lot of work is that there was an absolute failure, of the Secret Service and the local enforcement, and they'll decide whose fault it is. The Secret Service is already blaming the local guys.
Yeah,
I mean the local cops were in the building. That's where they were staged.
The building that the roof.
Yes, that was.
That's why I don't even get it.
That was one of the staging areas.
How could he have even? I feel like I saw something where he didn't even have a bag, like the child, or because he was a child, 20 years old. You're a child. So just how does someone with a sniper rifle get up to the roof of a building that Trump is right near, the blueprint?
Yeah, no, it's
the layout.
If you're
is off.
If you're the Secret Service right now, some people should be fired. Okay, forget about anything else. This is almost an amateur failure. They didn't have tons of high buildings around there, right? They only had a few. They could have covered, and they should have covered every single one of those buildings out to about a mile. I mean, that would have been easy to do. There wasn't that many, and that's a typical. And I know from my Navy SEAL guys, the Overwatch, as they call it, the sniper views is always they take all the high ground and they make sure that no one else has a high ground shot. And this guy literally was able to crawl up on a building without, and take a shot. Without anyone stopping, although people did know about it, right? The cops knew about it. They were all looking for him. And then from what I heard, and I hope this is not true, but if it is, it's even more embarrassing, that there was a local law enforcement guy that had gotten up on the roof, had seen him, and the kid pointed the gun at him, and so the guy backed down and didn't do anything about it. Now, that guy should be fired because that's your job. You take the bullet. I don't care. If you don't want to take the bullet, don't be a law enforcement. I'm sorry. When you're in the military, you take the bullet. And if you don't want to do that, no one's forcing you to. That's not a job that you were forced into. And I know it's hard to say, oh, gee, John, would you take it? Yeah, I would take the bullet, okay? That's your job. And if you're not willing to do that, don't do the job. That's flat out my view on that. So I give no comfort to that guy, just like I gave no comfort to the guys in Texas that didn't go into the school while kids were being slaughtered and they were afraid to go in there.
My God,
those people should not only be fired, they should be convicted.
Well, they're hopefully suffering hell in their mind because I don't think anyone's moral code could really deal with that.
Look, everyone's not cut out for this stuff, and that's unfortunate, okay? Everyone that's not cut out to be a police officer that's willing to put their life at risk. There's a lot of jobs in the police department that don't require that, so they should go out and be traffic cops. That's what they should do. But the people that are going to be out there who have to potentially draw their weapons and use them have to be people like the military, people that I work with and know. They accept that eventual opportunity that might happen. They know that, okay, and they don't back down from it. And you can't have police officers that are not willing to do that. So that I need to get to the bottom of that. But if that's true, that person at the minimum needs to be fired. A lot of people need to be fired here. A lot of leaders need to be fired. Because even if it may that they were not responsible personally, it's their team, right? And and by the way, the head of the Secret Service, she has to go. Okay, this is it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to see how easy it was for that to happen, and it's embarrassing. And by the way, the response to it, and I mean, I got to tell you, I was a little bit embarrassed by that too. They looked like, Keystone cops out there taking.
Oh, the way they covered him.
Yeah, and even like when you looked at, and I hate to say it because I don't want to pick on women, but the 2 or 3 women that were at the car, they looked like they were terrified, scared to death. Okay, I don't want to see my Secret Service people being scared to death that they may get shot. I mean, I've never seen.
We need Liam Neeson here.
You got to get some people out there that are like, that.
Do you know that reference? You know who I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Okay, because I kind of wish I would get taken just for him to find me.
Yeah, well, because he's a good-looking guy, or because
just the whole thing. I don't know. I just yeah, he would do anything to find. Not even for the good looks. Like I wish he was like in a sense like my father, and then it was like.
I mean, part of I hear you, but part of the deterrence, right, of the Secret Service or our military or our police, right, part of it is they need to be a bit scary, okay?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you got to double down. And I don't know.
Do you think most people would be afraid of that woman who couldn't put her gun in it? I mean, come on.
I also thought
and by the way, they need to be in shape. She didn't look like she was in shape.
Was she not?
No.
Okay, well, she definitely wasn't fat, and I feel like.
I don't think she could be run. I bet she couldn't climb up that roof.
We don't. I mean,
I'm sorry. I want to be dead honest about this stuff.
No,
okay?
but I get it, and we've had this conversation about like trainers, like personal trainers, and people that should be in shape not being in shape. I feel like I'm only going to defend her for a moment because she was in a suit. I don't know what she looked like. I don't know if she actually was like.
You could see it. You could see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Even with her bulletproof vest on, you could see it. She was not nice. She's not.
But also, as they were walking him away, just like one of the guys just had his hand like over Trump's head, and I'm like, your hand isn't going to block a bullet.
Yeah,
I don't know. Just like I don't know, right?
There's not much you could do at that point. I mean, they had him pretty well surrounded on the stage.
Okay, valid.
And plus, the shooter was down at that point, so they did not get him up.
What if there were others?
I get it. There's always that risk, but that's why they surround him. it would be a tough shot to get through those guys at that point. The Secret Service at that point, but look, it's not inconceivable. If there was multiple shooters, he was dead. I'll tell you that right now. Because if they had multiple shooters, they would just popped all those. They would have got him. Okay, there's no doubt about that. But that, thank God, did not happen.
Yep.
But again, when you do this stuff, the Secret Service has been a great organization for decades, right? I have a lot of respect for them. They protected a lot of presidents. Reagan got shot. They did a great job around him. They do their job, and it's impossible. It's an impossible job. It really is. So I start off with it's an impossible job because there's so many ways that people can get at them. It's really an impossible job when you put a president out in the public, thousands of people in a venue. It's very tough. Okay, and frankly, I don't know why they don't have a bulletproof box around him like they do for the Pope Mobile. Right? I mean, it'd be very simple. You could put 3-4-sided, plexiglass, bulletproof.
Like while he's speaking.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
No. I'm just. Sure.
I mean, I tell you what, if I'm Trump, I'm going to make sure I have that every
if you're that
time.
type of man.
Do you want to be dead?
No, of course not.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you know that people can shoot you, why wouldn't you? It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
I guess after they shot the Pope, they put him in a little box.
No, that's true. That's true. We have had a president assassinated. So
yeah.
So this I don't know if you want to move on to the next one.
Yeah, why not?
This clip, I don't know. I'll link all the creators below because I don't remember their names right now.
Okay.
But this is about, I think, the surrounding snipers that were taking this guy down.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Times photographers, and it is amazing footage. But so what people are saying is the Secret Service guy knew that the assassin was going to shoot Trump, and he's telling the camera people to move to get into place so they can get a good angle when Trump gets assassinated and they can get a good picture of it. That's what people are saying.
Wow. Okay.
If you knew an assassination was about to happen and you're in on it, wouldn't it be like the fishiest thing you could do? Hey, camera people, you should get into a better position so you can see the president's head get blown off.
Yeah, that's...
What's much more likely is they were just sitting behind the president, and for whatever reason, probably security reasons, it's like, hey, you can't sit here in front of the gate. Notice how they're in front of the gate. You can't sit here in front of the gate. You're going to have to move over there, right? Or people, they could have been told, like, hey, something fishy's going on. We got our eye on this person. We don't know exactly what's going on. And then because of that, he's like, all right, you should move, right? To just jump right to it's a conspiracy and they're in on it. And they were trying to get the photographers in place. And another point is, even if the photographers stayed where they were and took pictures, you don't think there would have been some legendary pictures taken from that perspective just behind him and to the right? That still is like an amazing angle. You're right.
I guess this guy's just debunking that.
Yeah, I like what he's doing.
That phase. That, like, whoever said this, the snipers on the president's side that knew was going to happen.
Yeah, as we start in the early stages of the investigation, again, and we may never get any kind of a real story here, but I go with the sort of more logical, reasonable solution outside of a conspiracy theory, which is that, look, it was just a failure, an absolute failure, a debacle. And was the debacle caused because of indifference? Was it caused because they don't really want to protect Trump? I mean, they did a lot of other stupid things. They didn't give him the full protection that he requested, and he should get that. They didn't give RFK, they didn't give him protection. I mean, that was the Democrats' move. I don't think they did it just to hope that he got killed, but you never know. But they certainly didn't give him protection that he deserved, and they didn't give RFK Jr. any protection, which is bullshit. I mean, he's the third-party candidate, and he should have protection. So that's a failure on the Democratic side, and then they should be held accountable too. Whoever decided they were not going to give him protection, they should be held accountable. All these people need to be held accountable, because if that's the case, then the next time there's a Republican president and there's a Democratic candidate out there, and they decide they're going to let him, fly in the wind there and not have protection. It just can't happen. This is bull. All right, let's see what else we got here. So we got Candace
This is
Owens.
Candace, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We love her. I think they spelled her name wrong. Whoever is reposting this.
What is
like
it?
It's,
an A?
Yeah, I think it's Candace. Anyways.
Oh, okay.
But there is something here that feels more sinister to me, right? And I hate to be the person that gets conspiratorial here, but considering that it was the conspiracy theorists that were worried that something like this might happen, who's driving this at this event? Like, who is this individual? What are we going to learn about this individual? Who do you guys think is going to be behind this assassination attempt of Trump? I'm looking at you guys. I'm going to jump into the chat right here. This person says, Candace, do you think the CIA is involved? Well, what I will say is if the CIA is involved, we're not going to find out, because every time they are involved, they basically virtually sweep a step under the rug. I mean, like I said, for those of you who have read that book, Chaos, that I am demanding everybody read, because it goes into the 60s and it goes into the MK Ultra program, and it tells you about the COINTELPRO program, and it also tells you that that movie that we all watched and thought that it was just a movie, the Denzel Washington Manchurian Candidate, no, that was real.
Okay.
Okay, look, she's got a couple good points there. There's no doubt if the CIA was behind it, they're not going to tell us. And they can keep these secrets for a long, long time. You know, we know from our salon with, you know, David Grush, and he came out with, you know, 500-page report that we can't even see, and he's got a lot of data and information that the government is clearly covering up. We know from our discussion with Joe McMoneagle that the CIA had tons of stuff. And he was on that project that she mentioned, was the Stargate project.
Stargate, yeah.
That was one of his projects. They covered that up. You know, they've been in denial about a lot of stuff. And a lot of it's come out, right? We knew that they were doing things with the psychedelic drugs. You know, that of course they are. The CIA is going to try everything. That's their job, essentially. So let's first start with, they're supposed to kind of be on top of every possible thing that could happen out there and make sure that they have countermeasures for attacks from other countries. But when it becomes, you know, where they use it against their own citizens or political people, that's over the line for me. Or where they use it against U.S. citizens for no reason, that's over the line for me. And again, we won't find these things out. She's right. But I'm not there yet. Because when I look at this one looks just like a failure. I mean, it's just like an absolute failure.
Because I guess why wouldn't they? I only just had this thought right now because I was so into driving the conspiracy train. But why would they have chosen such a kind of
well, first of all, they would
inadequate child to shoot, right?
Look, if the CIA was going to do it, he'd be dead.
That's what I mean. Yeah, no. So
fuck that up.
that's just where right now. The light bulb just went off. I was okay, wait.
The CIA has the best assassins in the world. They have all kinds, and they're the best. I mean, let's face it. There's no question that if they want to assassinate you, you're done. And so if they wanted Trump dead, he'd be dead. And they could have had this kid as the scapegoat, but they would have made sure he got the shot off, and he got him.
Yeah, and the poor kid. I mean, I saw some things about how he was bullied. I mean,
yes.
And why is that just such the consistent, story with all these shooters that they're such, black sheep or outcasts or.
Well, people are cruel, and you can see this kid. He's not, I guess I was lucky. When I grew up, everyone was ugly in my class. So
oh my gosh, that's actually so funny because it's so true. Kids that are like 12 right now are stunning. Yeah. I don't understand. I was like the ugly duckling. So it's shocking how I don't know what's in the water or if it's just. They all can wear makeup earlier. I'm not sure.
I don't know. There was like about 4 guys in my class. One of them was my best friend. He was quite the darling blonde hair. All the girls loved him. But for the rest of us, we were average at best. And some of the women were attractive. There's no doubt about that. The guys, though, in my school, we were not, we were not winning a lot of hearts. But we didn't feel like we were bullied over the fact that we were average dudes. Where these poor kids, that kid was, they abused him. Clearly, they abused him. He's very smart. Apparently, he won some, prizes. He's a very smart guy, and that's a trend now. You see, a lot of these kids are committing suicide. These, what do they call them, incels? They're sitting in their basement and they're.
Oh, I haven't heard that term.
Oh yeah, it's involuntarily celibate. In other words, these guys have no luck with women. They just go on the apps now and. They're living in their basement, sort of on porno/gaming/ online communities where they're sharing their malaise with each other and getting even more depressed. Yeah, and a lot of these shooters, if you said that's the category that they're coming from. A lot of these people who go in and shoot up schools. These are usually kids that are in the same category. And this guy seems to fit the profile like 100%. So I think, we could be comfortable thinking that that's where his motivations are. Forget about the political. I mean, you don't need a whole lot of motivation when you're already decided that you're going to do something crazy because your life is just so horrible.
Yeah.
And the fact is, some parents don't know it. I'm sure there was some warning signs, but it's not easy. And I know from my own life, I have a son around that age, and he didn't have the best he didn't have the best experience in school.
Yeah.
He suffered some bullying, and to his credit, he was able to deal with it in ways that I never could have. And when I found out about it, I was so proud of him because he dealt with it really, really well. But I worry, and I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other night, and I said, okay, I've got weapons, I've got guns, okay? You know where they are?
Locked up?
They're in a safe. I have a massive safe, but I only have the combination 2. No one else can get into it. And there's no keys, right? So they can't find them in my drawer, and they're locked up.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, if you're a gun owner and you got children, or even if you don't have children and you don't have a gun safe, well, I got nothing but, it's your fault. Okay? I'm not happy.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's a given.
It's a given.
Why would someone not, though? Is it because they want to be able to, if they do need to defend themselves, opening up a safe takes more time?
True enough, but at the end of the day, let's say you want to have your weapon at home for when you're going to need it, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what does that mean? You're not home. Should your weapon be out? No, it should be in the safe.
Right.
You come home, and by the way, most people for home protection, you're not going to use an AR-15. Okay,
these are
any law enforcement, any military. That's not a weapon you're going to be going around the house with. It's not going to work. It's going to be a handgun, maybe a shotgun. And if you know what you're doing, you need to make sure that it's a gun that's not going to penetrate the walls because you can kill your kids in the other room. There's a lot of things. If you're going to have home protection, you need to pay attention and know what you're doing. And good, responsible gun owners know that. The type of bullets you use, the rounds you use, the type of weapons you use. And those, let's say you want to have that by your bedside, even if you did, and I don't have it because I'm not that afraid, but if I ever was that afraid, I might have one there. They have these little safes that you put them in. They're like a jewelry box almost, right? Mm-hmm. And they have them with where you can either have a combination, you could have a key, or you could even use like a thumbprint to get in. So you can get it pretty quick.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Or if you, like I said, it's in your bedroom, you put it on your nightstand. If you're the only one there, that's fine. Okay. You want to do that. Okay. But other than that, if it's not at your hand or on your person, it should be locked up. I've never had my weapons out. I've never had my guns out that were, other than when I was in Texas, because in Texas, you put your hunting rifle, your shotgun behind in your pickup truck. Everyone has them.
That's probably one of the arguments with gun laws, right? The type of gun someone is going to choose to conceal their home with, or is that the proper term?
No, home protection. It's not
home
concealed.
protection.
It's a concealed carries when people wear their guns on. Look, I grew up in a family where you couldn't possibly have a gun. My mother was absolutely, anti-guns, and we never had weapons in the house and never would. I didn't get into weapons at all until I went in the military, and then I was living in Texas, where if you didn't have a gun, you were not allowed to live in the state. Everyone hunted. Everyone had guns. Okay.
Yeah.
And everyone had a gun. So I trained with the military, and I also trained with a guy in Texas that was a big time hunter. I learned how to hunt. And then when I left Texas, I went to my sister lived in Pennsylvania, which is where this happened. And Pennsylvania, a huge hunting state. People in Pennsylvania all hunt. And I remember my first day out in Pennsylvania on opening day. One year I went out with my sister and my nephew and my sister's husband, and we went deer hunting. And I remember that the sun wasn't even up, Jen. This is a great story for people who I'm a Second Amendment. I believe in it. I have weapons. I'm all for that. But I'm a huge gun safety person. So I'm in the woods, and we're waiting for the sun to come up because you're not supposed to shoot before sunrise. And this was buck season, so you can't shoot does. There's all these rules. Okay, so we're in the woods, and I'm telling you, the sun's not even up yet, and there's just guns going off everywhere. Okay. And the bullets are whizzing around, and I'm scared to death now. And by the way, I'm in a big orange, like, tunic, or like I look like the Great Pumpkin, right? I have more orange on it. You only need, like, if I have, I don't know, 12 square inches. I forget how much you have to have, to meet the law. But I wore a complete poncho, orange. Okay, I didn't want to get shot. And there was
that's
this,
why I was like, wait, that's not camouflage.
No, no, no,
You're trying to not camouflage.
No, well, you can wear cami, but you're wearing orange on top of it. Most states,
okay.
yeah, because it's so easy to get. Can you imagine wearing camouflage and they're shooting in the woods? No,
that's
a disaster.
Again, it clicked.
Yeah, so you have to wear orange in
Yeah.
many, many states. So I had this orange on, and I had the orange poncho. So I was like a huge, orange thing in the middle of the woods. But the sun's not up, so no one could see it. And they're shooting. So I went and I crawled in a hollow between these two fallen trees, and I just waited it out until it got light enough, right, so that I could actually get out of there. And so I walked out, and on the way out, I'm seeing people, running after things, and they were fighting over kills. I'm not kidding. It was unbelievable. And a bunch of these guys were out of New York, so I could tell they were drinking. And I'm saying, what the fuck, this is so dangerous, right? And then even my nephew who was with us, he sort of almost fell, and he didn't have his gun properly taken care of. That there was a bullet in the chamber. He could have killed me. And I said, okay, this is it. So that was the last day I ever went hunting, because I realized that people are not responsible enough to have weapons, guns. They shouldn't have them. A lot of them. And even these are supposed hunters, and it was scary, and I never went back. And I really never really liked to hunt anyways. I'm not a big fan of killing animals, even if you eat them.
Yeah.
So it was a good thing, and I stopped doing that. And now the only kind of shooting I do is target shooting, and just to keep my skills up. And if I ever have to use a weapon, I want to be able to use it, in the right way. I don't want to hurt anybody. And so you need to stay in good training. You need to pay attention. Just holstering and unholstering a gun. You saw what happened there, right? That's a skill. That's something you can practice, because you can shoot someone or shoot yourself unholstering the gun.
Right.
And it happens all the time. So you really need to practice that. You need to know where to point the gun. You need to know how to unload and change your magazines, where you're supposed to point it. You never point it at anyone unless you're going to shoot it. You never shoot it unless you're going to kill someone. I mean, there's like a lot of rules that people who are gun owners that know what they're doing know, and I feel very safe around those people because they're very respectful. Like whenever I pick up a gun, the first thing I do is take out the magazine. I'm pointing it in a direction where I can't shoot anybody. I'm checking, make sure there's nothing in the barrel. You go through a whole series of procedures to make sure that gun is safe, and then you click the trigger so that now you can't even shoot anything before you even start doing anything with that weapon. You have to know the rules. And in the military, when we were being trained, you broke the rules, you might get a bullet in the back of the head. Because I remember we're on the range, and they used to say that to us. We're on the range. If you don't point your weapon down range, and if you turn sideways, they got the guys all behind you with weapons, and they tell you, we'll have to kill you because you could kill someone else. And they were pretty serious about it, and I know I was worried that they might. I never took that gun off the range, and shooting it down range. And then you had to clear your weapon before you went down to get your target, because we had to walk down range, and the weapons were all pointed down range. And if you didn't clear your weapon, somebody could kick the back of an M16 back in the day, and they would go off. It was a very sensitive weapon. So gun safety is a big deal.
Yeah.
Why that guy
didn't,
why he didn't have him locked up, Jen, I don't know. It's crazy to me.
Anyway. I guess I wanted you to do this video because I was trying to go for the conspiracy. No, I thought maybe we wrap up.
All right. Well, because look, I
in general, I guess you're right. No, I'm saying I see how it could not be a conspiracy theory. I do enjoy those types of dialogues though, because I don't know.
Look, Jen, Jen, but the conspiracy could go either way, right? So that, on one hand, people are trying to say, the left's trying to say it was a conspiracy by Trump against himself.
Right. Oh yeah, to get him to have him be more favored.
That's pretty bizarre. I mean,
I completely disagree. That's fucked.
Would you want to take a bullet in the air unless that's all fake? Who knows? I don't know. That's pretty bizarre. And that's what they're suggesting with the whole fact that they targeted this guy and all that.
Yeah, of course they would say that. I think that's so absurd.
And I'm not,
Sorry.
and I'm not there that the left would do this. I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty big, bold thing to do, right? That's pretty desperate. I just don't believe people are that evil yet. I hope not, but we'll see.
I do believe people are that evil. But I definitely don't think this was the right side. If anything, I think if it is a conspiracy, if it was an inside job, it was not from Donald Trump. I will confidently stand on that. I do not care how much hate I get for that, but no way. Just like you said, he looked so shaky. Like there's just no way.
Yeah.
That anyone's gonna be like, yeah, shoot me, so I definitely win. It's ridiculous. Like the man is a billionaire, correct?
Yeah.
He has billions, right? Okay, I just want to make sure. So yeah, this man has billions of dollars. Does he have to run for president again? No, like he could be enjoying his life. He's an older gentleman. I don't know. I'm so down for Trump. I know people, but I just am. I'm down for the man. I'm down for him helping our country. I think the things he has in store are gonna be great. But anyway, so that was our conspiracy theory video. We enjoy reacting to videos, so let us know what other videos you want us to react to. We do have a couple more set up for the future, so stay tuned.
Yep. So like, subscribe, hit the bell. Tell me how much you like Jenna and how much you hate me. It's all good. We would love
That's
to
the
see
dynamic.
you. We'll love to see you again. And like I said, this one for me, my first impression is it's just a failure. A failure of the protection, and I think that's probably the best answer. But we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see. I'm open to hearing more. Thanks, Jen. We'll do some more. All right,
guys.
So, take care.